I want you to try a little experiment with me. It'll only take a second.
Okay, I'm in.
I want you to close your eyes, unless you're driving. Please do not close your eyes if you are driving. And I want you to picture your keys.
Okay, done. I'm picturing them. I can see the little, the keychain on them.
Perfect. Now imagine I just say one more word to you. The word is table.
Okay, keys, table.
So, do you have any idea where your keys are?
Not really. I mean, my brain wants to put them on the table.
Right.
Because that's, where they usually go.
Right.
But logically,
Yeah.
just from those two words, they could be under it. They could be hovering magnetically above it, I guess.
They could be next to it. They could be anywhere in the same room.
Yeah, exactly. The two words have no relationship.
Exactly. Without that connective tissue, reality just collapses into a pile of nouns. You have objects, but you don't have a world. You don't have a scene.
That's a terrifying way to put it, but you're absolutely right. We take it for granted that we know how things relate to each other.
We just assume it.
Yeah, we assume the architecture of our reality is self-evident.
Right.
But it's not.
No, it isn't. It has to be built word by word. And today, we're looking at the code that holds that physical reality together. We are deep diving into the invisible architecture of language.
I love that title.
Me too.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're looking at a document that seems, well, pretty simple on the surface. It's called Mastering Prepositions of Place, Day 19, English Practice.
Day 19. That number is actually really important here.
It is.
Yeah, it caught my eye immediately when I was looking through the source material.
How so? I mean, usually we just jump straight to the topic, but you think the timeline matters here.
I really do. I mean, think about the journey that the learner in this source material, Jace and Isha, are the characters instructing us. Think about the journey they've been on.
Right.
This isn't day one. Day one is hello. Day one is, pure survival.
Right. Where is the bathroom?
Exactly. But day 19, that's a grind. That's the point where the novelty is totally worn off and you're just doing the hard work of refinement.
That is a great point. The source actually lists what they've already done. It's like a resume of the last 3 weeks of their life.
What's on there?
They've mastered greetings, vowel sounds, telling time, ordering food. I mean, they've essentially built the house. The foundation is there.
Right. But an empty house isn't a home. Day 19 is about furnishing it.
Okay.
It's about walking into a room and not just seeing chair and corner, but seeing the chairs in the corner. It's the final piece of the puzzle that turns a vocabulary list into a 3D map.
It transforms the speaker from a robot just pointing at things, book, table, good,
Hey.
into a narrator of reality.
Precisely. And that's the mission for this deep dive. We're going to explore how we add that final piece to make descriptions crystal clear.
We're moving from just naming objects
To orienting them in space.
Uh-huh.
And that's not just grammar, it's spatial logic. It's about how we think.
I love how the source material opens. I really do. It doesn't start with a rule book. It doesn't give you a dry definition. It starts with a command.
It creates what it calls a stop scrolling moment.
Literally. It says, and I'm quoting, "Stop scrolling and look around you right now."
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah.
It demands that you stop looking at the screen, stop engaging with the digital void, and start looking at the physical world.
It grounds the learner
Yeah.
right away. And then Jace, who's the instructor in the text, he starts narrating what he sees, or rather what he assumes the learner sees.
Yeah.
And it creates this immediate sense of, like, paranoia in a good way.
Yeah.
He asks, is your phone in your hand?
Well, yeah. I mean, if I'm reading the guide, it probably is. That's a safe bet.
And then, is your water bottle on the table? Is your charger under the pillow?
Okay, that one felt personal. Charger under the pillow. That is such a specific, lived-in detail. It's not the generic, the cat is on the mat textbook example.
No, it's real life.
That's where chargers go to die.
It is. And it highlights a safety hazard, probably.
Yeah.
But grammatically, look at what's happening.
Right.
Slippers next to the bed, fan above the head.
This is the thesis of our whole discussion today, isn't it? These tiny little words, in, on, under, next to, above, they're doing all the heavy lifting.
All of it.
Without them, like we said, it's just a list, a jumble of nouns. But with them, you have a scene, you have a location.
And the stakes are so much higher than just describing a room. I mean, these prepositions determine whether a listener finds what they're looking for or just remains completely confused.
How so?
Well, think about it. If I tell you the keys are near the table, you enter a general search mode, right?
Yeah.
You look on the floor, you check the chairs, you scan the surface.
Right, I'm scanning the whole zone. My search radius is like 5 feet.
Exactly. But if I tell you they're under the table, what do?
I get on my knees instantly.
Your physical posture changes. One word.
Yeah.
One tiny little word changes your entire physical action.
Wow. Okay, so let's unpack this system. The source breaks this down beautifully into these logical categories, and I want to go through it just like Jace and Isha do.
Where do we start?
We have to start with the two heavyweights, the titans of location, the container and the surface.
Or as we know them, in and on.
These seem so basic, so fundamental. I mean, en and hin, we use them thousands of times a day without even thinking. But the logic behind them is actually surprisingly rigid, isn't it?
It is. It's incredibly rigid. And this is where learners, and honestly even native speakers, get tripped up when they stop thinking about the logic.
So let's start with in, phonetically transcribed in the source as n. The definition seems simple enough: inside an enclosed space.
Okay, enclosed space are the key words there.
Right, but the examples they give show there's a lot of nuance. The first one is a classic: my phone is in my pocket.
Which is the perfect starting point. Let's think about the geometry of a pocket for a second. What is it, really?
It's a pouch. It's a little bag sewn into your pants.
Exactly. It has a bottom, it has sides, and it essentially wraps around the object you put inside it.
Yeah.
It creates a boundary.
A physical boundary.
Yes. And that is the absolute essence of in. It implies containment. You are crossing a threshold to get there. You have to put your hand into it.
Okay, I buy that for a pocket. That's clear. I also buy that for the second example, the books are in the bag. A bag is definitely a container.
A classic container.
But then they throw a curveball. Example number 3, she lives in Chandigarh.
Ah, yes. The geographical container.
But wait a minute. A city, Chandigarh. It's not a bag. It doesn't have a lid. I can walk right out of it. It's open to the sky. So why are we in a city? Why aren't we, say, at a city or on a city?
This is where the logic of English prepositions gets really, really interesting. It reveals how our brains map the world, not just how it physically is.
What do you mean?
We treat cities, countries, provinces, regions, we treat them all as containers. They have borders.
Even if the borders are just invisible lines on a map.
Especially then. Conceptually, you are contained within them. When you're in the city limits, you are inside the perimeter of Chandigarh. Think of it like a walled garden. Even if the wall is just a legal jurisdiction that says city starts here, you are inside it.
So if you are surrounded by boundaries, whether they're real, like a wall, or imaginary, like a city limit, you're in.
Precisely. That's why you can't be on a city. I mean, to be on Chandigarh, you'd have to be a giant, like Godzilla, stepping on top of the buildings.
Chuckles. Okay, that's a great image. Godzilla is on the city,
Right.
but the citizens are in the city.
Exactly. Now let's contrast that with on. The source gives the phonetics, or a, and the definition is being on a surface or attached to something.
Surface feels like the key word there. The first example is the one we all learned. The cup is on the table.
Dead simple, horizontal surface, gravity is holding it there, easy.
But then the next one, the clock is on the wall.
A vertical surface.
And the third one, my glasses are on my face.
A complex organic surface, but still a surface.
Let's stick with the wall for a second. This is something I hear people get wrong all the time. They'll say, the picture is in the wall. Why does our brain want to say in for that?
That's a great question. I think it's because intuitively the wall is part of the structure of the room. The room itself is a container. So the walls feel like they're part of that containment.
So we get confused about what's containing what.
Exactly. But we have to look at the object's direct relationship to the material it's interacting with.
Okay, the physics of it.
The physics of it.
Yeah.
Is the clock embedded inside the drywall? Did you, carve a hole, shove the clock inside the bricks, and then plaster over it?
No, of course not. It's hanging on a nail.
Then it is touching the surface of the wall. Even though it's vertical, the relationship is one of surface contact. If you say the clock is in the wall, you're describing a hidden safe.
Right.
Or maybe a hidden camera in a spy movie.
The microphone is in the wall. That's a thriller movie.
Right.
The microphone is on the wall. That's a boring conference call.
Brilliant. That is exactly the distinction. And Jays makes a really good point in the text about why this matters so much in a practical way. He really raises the stakes.
What does he say?
He says the difference between in the drawer and on the drawer changes the entire search.
It changes the search location by, what, a few inches? But those inches are everything.
Everything. If I tell you the keys are in the drawer, what do?
I pull the handle, I open it, I'm looking for containment.
And if I say on the drawer, which I might mean on top of the whole chest of drawers.
Then I'm just scanning the top surface. I'm not opening anything.
Right. If you mix those two up, you are effectively sending someone on a wild goose chase. You are telling them to open something when they should be looking at something.
It creates a glitch in the matrix. You're looking for a surface, and I'm describing a container. It's frustrating.
It creates friction, and language, at its best, is supposed to reduce friction, not create it.
Okay, so we have established the in-on dynamic, containment versus surface. Now we have to move vertically. The source takes us up and down the y-axis.
Let's go down first to under. The source gives the phonetics as a-jat-dr.
The definition here is below something or covered by something.
And again, the psychology here is really interesting. Let's look at the examples from the text.
Okay.
My slippers are under the bed. The cat is under the chair. And the one we already mentioned, the charger cable is under the pillow.
I'm sensing a theme here.
What is it?
Concealment.
Exactly. Things that are under are often hidden from view.
Are protected. The cat is under the chair for safety. The slippers are under the bed to be out of the way.
And the charger under the pillow. Well, that's just laziness maybe, but it's still hidden.
There's a monster under the bed quality to the word. It implies you have to peer into the darkness or lift something up to find it.
Correct. If something is on the table, it is presented to you. It's in the open. If it's under the table, you have to work to find it.
Which leads us to the opposite direction, going up. The source makes a point of distinguishing between above and over.
This is a subtle one, but it's important. The examples they give are the fan is above the bed
Okay.
and the helicopter flew over the city.
Now, my first question is, why not use on? Why can't I say the fan is on the bed?
Well, you can, but I want you to picture what that means.
Uh-oh.
If the fan is on the bed, it means it has fallen out of the ceiling and is now lying on your mattress.
Chuckles. Okay, that's a very bad day. I see your point.
On implies contact, physical contact. Above and over crucially implies suspension. There's a gap, there's air between the two objects.
The air gap is the defining feature.
Yes. The fan is higher than the bed, but it is not touching it. It's hovering.
And over versus above, is there a big difference?
Over often implies movement or covering a larger area, like the helicopter flying over the city. Above is more static, like the fan above the bed. But for the learner, the critical distinction that Jays focuses on is separating both of them from on. If you tell a repairman the water leak is on the ceiling, that makes perfect sense. The water is touching the drywall.
Okay.
But if you say the light fixture is above the table, that also makes sense. But if you say the light is on the table, you now have a lamp, not a ceiling fixture.
So it's that spatial logic again. You're not just describing a location, you're describing the type of object it is.
Yes, you are. A light on the table is a lamp. A light above the table is a chandelier or a pendant light. The preposition defines the object.
Wow. And then there's one more here in the vertical stack, which is below.
Below is a little more straightforward, I think. It's just lower than something. The example is the shoes are below the shelf.
It feels less about being covered, like under, and more about just ranking.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. It's a relative position on a vertical axis. It's a ranking.
Okay, so we've oriented ourselves vertically, up and down. Now let's talk about proximity and orientation. This is where things get a little more intimate.
Indeed. We start with the classic side-by-side prepositions. Next to or beside.
The examples here feel very close, very immediate. The lamp is next to the bed. My house is next to the park. And she sat beside me in class.
There's a sense of adjacency here. Side-by-side arrangement. Next to implies an immediate proximity. There's usually nothing else meaningful between the two objects.
Right. If I say she sat beside me, it paints a very specific picture. We're probably shoulder to shoulder.
Correct. It creates a relationship between the two nouns. It's not just a location. If I say she sat near me, she could be 3 desks away.
But beside me?
Beside me implies a direct connection.
Okay, then we move to the front-back axis. We have behind and in front of.
Let's start with behind, the back of something. The source gives us a few great examples. Dustbin behind the door.
Which is where it belongs. Hidden away. Out of sight.
School bag behind the sofa.
Clutter. Also hidden away.
And hospital behind the market.
Landmark navigation. You pass the market, then you'll find the hospital.
All right, so behind effectively means the object is obscured or at the rear of the reference point from your current perspective.
Yeah.
It's in the blind spot.
And in front of is naturally the opposite. The TV is in front of the sofa.
Bracing. Opposite. It's all about line of sight.
A big tree in front of the house.
Same idea. The tree is the first thing you see when you face the house.
Now here's one that I think trips people up sometimes, and it's one of my favorites just in terms of its structure. The word between.
Ah, yes. Between. Phonetically, betweeny, twistin.
Yeah.
The source definition is simple. In the middle of two things.
And the examples are crucial here to understanding the logic. The remote is between the cushions, and my chair is between the table and the window.
The key insight with between and why it's so powerful is that it structurally requires three elements. Three. You have the object you're trying to locate, let's say the remote, and then you must have two reference points. You need the cushion on the left and the cushion on the right.
You can't just say, I am sitting between the table.
Oh, no. That sentence is incomplete. Your brain just waits for the second shoe to drop. Between the table and what? The wall, the chair.
So you need two anchors to lock it in place.
Exactly. It's a form of triangulation. You're locking the object in place by using two other objects as coordinates. It's actually one of the most precise ways to describe a location.
It's like a sandwich logic.
A sandwich logic, I like that.
Yeah, you need the bread on both sides.
Yeah.
The object is the filling, and the two reference points are the slices of bread.
That's a perfect analogy. You can't have a sandwich with one slice of bread.
Not a good one anyway.
Yeah.
And finally, for this section, we get the broader distance markers, near and far from.
Right. Metro station near office, village far from Chandigarh. These are broader distinctors. They don't give you a precise GPS coordinate,
No.
but they tell you the scale of the journey. They manage your expectations.
Right. Near is probably walking distance. Far is probably driving distance.
Usually, yes. It sets the expectation for the amount of effort required to get there.
Okay, so we have the toolkit. We've got the in-on, the under-above, the next to behind, the between. But the source material, specifically in Section 2, goes into something really valuable. It calls it the fixing phase.
I really appreciate this section. It's so practical. It explicitly calls out Indian to natural fixes because the source is tailored for that demographic. But honestly, these are logical leaps that any learner of English might struggle with.
Let's talk about the philosophy of errors for a second. Why do these specific mistakes happen? Is it just forgetting the right word?
Rarely. It's almost never just forgetting a word. It's usually a mismatch in the mental map.
What do you mean by that?
Your brain has a logic for where the object is, but English demands a different logic. So when you make a correction, you aren't fixing the word. You are debugging your perception of the scene.
I like that, debugging your perception. So let's debug the pocket error. The mistake is saying the keys are on the pocket.
Right. And we touched on this earlier. I can totally see why someone would say that.
You can.
For sure. The pocket is sewn onto the pants. It sits on top of your leg. So intuitively, you feel the keys are on your leg.
You feel the weight of them on your thigh.
Exactly. But English demands you focus on the mechanism of the pocket, not the sensation of the keys.
The mechanism is containment.
The mechanism is containment. If you say on the pocket to a native speaker, it creates a very weird image. It sounds like the keys are balanced precariously on the little fabric rim of the pocket.
Or like they're stuck to the outside with Velcro or something.
Chuckles, right, a Velcro keychain. So the correction is simple but profound. The keys are in the pocket. You have to reiterate the containment logic.
Okay, then there's the wall error. The picture is in the wall. We talked about this with the clock.
It's the safe versus surface theory. Unless you're talking about a hidden safe or some weird modern art installation, it's on the wall.
The city error is another big one. I live at Chandigarh.
Yeah, at is a very common mistake here.
Yeah.
At is usually used for a very specific point, a coordinate. I am at the bus stop. I am at the front door. Let's meet at the corner of Main and First. It's a precise point.
Like a dot on a map.
Exactly. But a city is an environment. It surrounds you. You live your life inside its borders. So I live in Chandigarh. Using at makes the city sound like a single building that you're just standing in front of.
It shrinks the city down to a single point.
It does. It completely removes the sense of immersion.
And the last one is the table error. This one is fascinating psychologically. The source says a common mistake is saying the pen is on the table, even if it fell underneath.
Yes. This is an issue of updating your mental map. It's about object permanence versus current reality.
Okay, break that down for me.
Well, the pen belongs on the table. In your mind, that's the pen's home. That's where you put it.
Right, its designated spot.
So even if it slides off and falls to the floor, you still associate it with the table surface. You're describing where it should be, not where it is.
You're in denial. You're refusing to accept the tragedy of the fallen pen.
In a way, yes. But the listener needs current, accurate coordinates. If you say on the table, I stop looking at the floor. I look at the surface. I don't see it. Now I'm confused and frustrated.
You have to update your mental map to match gravity.
You have to accept the new reality. The pen is now under the table.
I like the summary the source gives here. It calls it the golden rule recap.
It's a great little cheat sheet.
Enclosed space equals in, surface equals on, covered or below equals under, and facing equals in front of.
It simplifies the decision-making process for the speaker. Instead of guessing or translating, you just look at the physics of the situation. Is it enclosed? Use in. Is it touching a surface? Use on.
So we've got the theory, we've got the common mistakes. Now, the source moves to section 5, putting into practice real-life scenarios.
This is where it all comes together.
Jays and Isha act out these little dialogues, and they are surprisingly complex in terms of their spatial logic.
Let's look at scenario A, the lost item hunt. It's about finding missing glasses.
We have all been there. The panic, the frantic patting of pockets.
So let's trace the sequence of prepositions. It starts with a hypothesis from one person. I think they're on the table.
Standard starting point. A quick scan of the main surface.
But then, a correction. The same person says, no, wait, they're under the newspaper.
Notice the immediate shift. The preposition shifts the entire search. It went from visible and presented on to hidden and covered under.
Then, an instruction for the other person. Check behind the lamp.
Introducing a new axis, the z-axis. We're now checking the behind area, the blind spot that we can't see from our current angle.
And finally, the discovery. Found them. They were between the book and the water bottle.
And there's that sandwich logic again. Between. The most precise location.
This dialogue is brilliant because it shows that finding lost objects is essentially a process of eliminating prepositions.
What do you mean?
You're running a diagnostic. Is it on? No. Is it under? No. Is it behind? Maybe. Is it between? Yes. Bingo.
It's a dynamic search pattern. You are literally mapping the room with words as you go.
And between the book and the water bottle is such a high-fidelity description, it locks the glasses in place. You can visualize exactly where they are without even being in the room.
Okay, then we have scenario B, which is the mental map. This is giving directions to a house.
This is a much higher level skill, I think. You're not just describing what you can see right now. You're describing a path for someone else to follow in the future.
You're building a movie in their head.
Exactly. A little GPS movie.
Let's look at the sequence. It starts big. Near Sector 35 market.
Okay. Establishing the general vicinity, the container of the neighborhood, if you will.
Then, straight from the traffic light, turn left.
Movement in action.
Next to the green park.
Okay, pause there. Next to the green park, that's a crucial anchor.
Why?
Imagine if they just said, you'll see a green park. You wouldn't know if you're supposed to go through it, under it, or around it. Next to tells you to keep it on your flank as a reference point.
It orients you relative to the landmark. Got it. Then, in front of a big red temple.
Another anchor. A facing orientation. You should be looking directly at the temple when you stop.
And finally, on the 3rd floor.
The vertical destination.
What stands out to me here is the visualization. Even if you have never been to Chandigarh, listening to that description builds a 3D model in your head.
It really does.
You see the traffic light, you make the turn, you see the flash of green from the park next to you, then you stop and see the red of the temple facing you, and you know to look up.
And the colors are so important. The colors anchor the prepositions. The green park and red temple give you something concrete to be next to and in front of.
And that's why this lesson is on day 19. You couldn't do this on day 1.
Not a chance.
You needed the vocabulary for temple and park and traffic light from previous days. Now you're just connecting them with these powerful little words.
It really is the final piece, just like G said at the beginning. It turns a list of words into a functional map. It creates navigability in the world.
So the source doesn't just leave the listener there with the theory. It challenges them. There's a challenge and homework section.
And it's an immediate application, which is key to learning. The text prompts the listener, look around the room right now. Not later, now.
I love that immediacy. The challenge is to describe the position of 8 objects.
8 is a good number. It forces you to look past the obvious.
And they give some examples to inspire you. Window behind the curtain, bag next to the chair, bottle in front of the laptop, books in the shelf.
That bottle in front of the laptop is the universal symbol of modern work, isn't it?
It really is. And notice, books in the shelf. Again, treating the shelf like a container, an enclosure with sides.
Right, not on the shelf, but in it.
The homework assignment for day 19 is actually quite robust. It's not just fill in the blanks.
No, it's a 4-part assignment designed to hit different learning styles. First, writing. Write 12 sentences describing your room or office using different prepositions.
12 sentences is tough. It forces you to go beyond just in and on. You run out of the obvious ones really quickly. You have to start looking for the betweens and the behinds.
It forces you to look at the nooks and crannies of your own space
Yeah.
to really see it.
Second is recording. Record a 90 to 120-second audio clip describing the room layout.
This is so critical. Hearing your own voice say the words is crucial. It cements the connection between the object and its location in your brain. When you say the table is next to the window and you see the table next to the window, your brain locks that pattern in.
Third is the social aspect. Use at least 3 prepositions naturally in conversation today.
This is the bridge to the real world. It's taking it out of the textbook and into your life. Don't just practice in your room. Go tell someone, hey, your coffee's on the counter, or let's meet in front of the cinema.
It makes the learning functional. And fourth, there's a community engagement piece. Share in the comments where your phone or keys are right now.
I like that. It creates a sense of shared learning. Everyone is looking down at their keys and trying to figure out the right preposition at the same time. It's a collective aha moment.
It's interactive. Now, as we start to wrap up the content of this deep dive, we have to look at the context of the journey again. This is day 19.
And the source makes a point of mentioning that tomorrow, day 20, is the halfway mark.
That's a huge milestone for any learner. And they tease what's coming. A big review and mega quiz covering days 1 through 19.
So this lesson, this mastery of prepositions, is essentially the capstone of the first half of the course. It's the skill that ties all the previous vocabulary and grammar skills together before the big test.
It's the glue. You have the bricks, which are the nouns, you have the mortar, which are the verbs, and now you have the architecture, the prepositions that tell you where to put the bricks.
That's a great way of putting it. Jace and Esha end with a really encouraging sentiment. They say, keep pointing, keep placing, keep describing out loud.
It's so active, it's not passive learning.
No. And that final phrase, English is becoming sharper and more precise every day, is really the key takeaway from this whole lesson. Prepositions are all about precision. They eliminate ambiguity.
They really do. It's the difference between the bear is near you.
And bear is behind you.
Chuckles. That's a life-saving difference.
A critical difference. One is a general warning. The other is a reason for immediate panic.
Exactly. So what does this all mean for us? Whether you're learning English as a second language or you've been speaking it your whole life, it's worth taking a moment to appreciate this invisible architecture we talked about at the start.
Absolutely. We move through the world just assuming we know where things are. But until we articulate it, the cup is on the table. We haven't really defined our reality for anyone else or even for ourselves.
So here's a final provocative thought for you to mull over as we finish up. We've talked about in, on, under, behind. These are all relative to physical objects.
Right.
But think about how we use these exact same words for time and for abstract concepts.
Oh, that's interesting. Where are you going with this?
Well, think about it. We say we are in trouble. We are on time. We are under pressure. We are behind schedule.
Wow. That is fascinating. We map our emotional and temporal reality using the exact same spatial logic we use for our keys and our wallets.
We treat trouble like a container that we're stuck inside. We treat time like a surface, a line that we're standing on.
And pressure is a weight that is literally on top of us. We are under it. And the schedule is a race, and we're behind the competition.
It just shows how deep this logic goes. It's not just about where your furniture is. It's about how your mind organizes the entire universe, both the seen and the unseen.
So if you master the physical logic of these words, you're essentially mastering the metaphorical logic of the language too. You're not just learning words, you're learning how to think.
Something to think about the next time you look for your charger under the pillow.
Indeed. Or the next time you feel like you're in over your head.
Exactly. Well, that's it for this deep dive into day 19. Keep mapping your world, keep pointing at things like a crazy person, and we'll see you in the next one.